Thank you all for being here at White Cane Awareness Day webinar for Braille Institute. The Orientation and Mobility team really appreciate you all coming. I would like to first introduce all of our presenters today. We have our very special presenters from the Lions Club, and one is Steve Lacey. He is the governor for the 4L4 district, and with him is also John Dugan of the Lions. They are the Knights for the Blind, as Helen Keller has called them so we really appreciate them being here today. Otherwise, I don't think White Cane Awareness Day would be around without the Lions. And then we also have Karen Escobar-Mays, our own orientation mobility specialist. She will be doing the presidential proclamation. And then we have a panel of White Cane users and what the White Cane has done for them. That is Ken Bailey, Shayna Castle, and Charlotte Stradman. So welcome all of you, and welcome all who have come to join us today to celebrate White Cane Awareness Day. I would like to go ahead and get started with Governor Steve Lacey and John Dugan. Welcome you guys for being here. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity ever to talk about Lions and what we do in the area of vision care. So, do I begin then?
Yes, go ahead. Okay. And we will be, you're like the center of the screen now.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Well, I am District Governor Steve Lacey of what's known as 4L4. That is all of Orange County and the foothill region of San Bernardino County. In 4L4, we have 33 clubs and over 1,200 members. And we're one of 15 districts spread throughout California that are all involved in one way or another with sight. And that is the number one thing. We are proud of the Lions and what we have managed to do and what we are doing in the areas of preventable blindness and in helping the sight impaired to live the most full and complete life possible. And I really do want to delineate between the two because we work in both areas. We do all that we can to help prevent blindness from occurring in the first place, but for those who are scared because of it, we do everything we can to make sure their life is open to as many possibilities as it can be done. Now, I know I am biased when I talk about what the Lions do, but you know, what can I say? I've been in the organization 25 years, and I seem to give more and more time all the time. In fact, when I start talking about Lions to people, I'm surprised that when I'm done, they just don't immediately ask me for a membership application, because I get going and I just start listing one thing after another and kind of amaze them all. So let me tell you where it all started in case you don't know. Most know our story. It was in 1925 that Helen Keller herself came to one of the earliest international conventions of Lions. We've been around 102 years now. And she made what shall we say? She gave us a challenge. And I've written it down here because you really need to hear what she asked. The opportunity I bring to you, Lions, is this: to foster and sponsor the work of the American Foundation for the Blind. Will you not help me to hasten the day when there shall be no preventable blindness, no little deaf blind child untaught, no blind man or woman unaided? I appeal to you, Lions, you who have your sight, your hearing, you who are strong and brave and kind. Will you not constitute yourself Knights of the Blind in the crusade against darkness? And that's exactly what we did. We have become the Knights of the Blind for over 100 years. And we're extremely proud of each of the things we have done, including the White Cane. As many of you might know, if you know the history, the White Cane itself actually was first started in England in about 1921. We understand that a man by the name of James Biggs was credited with trying to find a way to help the sight impaired to cross the busy streets of London and realized that the canes that they were using, which were dark in color, were not visible to the people who were going by. And he came up with the idea of the white cane. It was less than 10 years later when, as we tell it in our story, a lion, George Bonham, who was part of the Lions Club in Peoria, Illinois, brought the idea of the white cane to his area and began expanding its use. As soon as it came, clubs everywhere all across the country began picking up on it. The idea of the white cane with the red band began to spread, and soon it became a national phenomenon, all because it was started by one lion in one club and then spread everywhere. Today there are things, excuse me, get rid of this phone here. Today there are laws in place that declare that this day should be declared for one and all White Cane Awareness Day. And that started back in 1964 with President Lyndon Johnson. And we are thrilled to have this day to bring this concern to everyone. So it is an exciting possibility to be part of this. Now, I like to talk about what lions do. And what I don't cover, I am sure John Dugan can pick up because his awareness and knowledge in this area is even greater than mine. Let's talk about preventable blindness. We realize that in the United States, we are really blessed that most of the causes of preventable blindness have been done away with. But elsewhere in the world, especially in what used to be known as the third world countries, it still runs rampant. So recently, in the past few years, the Lions have raised $2 or $3 million to provide immunizations against river blindness in Central American countries. It was amazing because we had someone no less than Bill Gates give us a challenge. And he said, I tell you what, Lions, if you put up $1 million, I'll put up $1 million and we will immunize an entire area. Well, he was amazed at how fast we came up with our $1 million. So he said, I tell you what, I'll make it 2. And we matched the 2 million and then went on to do 3. And all of that went to pay for immunizations to stop the river blindness in these Central American countries before it even had a chance to impact the sight of those kids. And we are just so thrilled that we were part of that. Now, our latest thing to jump ahead, talking about preventable blindness. Many of you have heard of the City of Hope, the finest cancer treatment and research center in the Western United States, and all they've done with cancer. But now they have moved into diabetes research. And that's really a key, because in the United States, the #1 cause of preventable blindness is diabetes. And they have set up a diabetes innovation fund. And the Lions of California have pledged to raise $1 million over 5 years to pay for the research done by their incredible scientists. How can we stop diabetes? How can we lessen the impact? How can we help people live with the impact of it? And it is exciting to hear. If you go on City of Hope website and listen to what their doctors are doing and know that we are helping to make sure that this disease has as little impact on people as possible. And that all falls in the area of what Lions are doing in the area of preventable blindness. On the other hand, we work for the people who are dealing with sight impairment all the time. Normally, if it was not for the pandemic, I would be able to tell you about dozens of things that my clubs throughout California are doing right now. But unfortunately, most of those events were shut down. Perhaps you've seen in the past a table with all the white canes on it and Lions standing by, inviting you to come up and donate and share. And those are few and far between this year. One of our other districts used to have a parade down the main street of people with white canes showing how well they maneuver and how important the white canes are to them. There are so many things that normally happen. And when we get through this pandemic and get past, we're going to come back next year with a vengeance and really start all our activities again. But let me tell you what we are able to do right now. Throughout Southern California especially, we have a wing of our organization called California Lions Friends in Sight. We do 35 vision screenings throughout the Southern California area and Northern California. Vision screenings that are absolutely free to each and every person that walks in that door. We do not care about their background. We do not care if they have insurance. If they need an eye exam, we have teams of doctors, 50 to 100 volunteers. They come in, have their eyes examined, and we have 20,000 pairs of recycled eyeglasses that they get matched with their prescription, and they leave that center with a pair of glasses that fit their prescription. And if we don't have the right prescription, we make it for them free of charge. And so every time one of these clinics, 200, 300, 400, 500 people walk away with better sight than when they came in. We're getting ready to try to collect more glasses. In March, we have what is called Eyes Across California, where our goal is to collect 100,000 pairs of recycled glasses. We recondition them, we clean them, we match their prescriptions, we send them out to all our various agencies so that we can have them to give to people so that everyone has a chance to see. Then, even more exciting is what we're doing with preschoolers. You may be aware that California is beginning to move and mandate that young children as young as 3 to 5 years of age are able to have vision treatments, to be able to test their eyesight while they are still young before they have started school. And we have clubs here in 4L4, most appropriately my Seal Beach Club, that have purchased the Welsh Allen Spot Scope. This is an amazing thing. It looks like you're holding a camera up in front, and you stand just 2-3 feet away from the child, and it can read their vision level. And it can spot up to 6 different vision problems. And it takes about 15 seconds. In fact, we can go into a school with 100 preschoolers, and in 2 hours, we can give them all vision tests. And when there's a problem, our computer system prints out a report, we give it to their parents and send them right off to eye professionals. Isn't that incredible? 3 to 5-year-olds. I don't know how many of you were like me who did not get their eyeglasses. I was 6th grade, but I couldn't see since the early ages. And it was amazing what happened in school when I finally could see when I got my glasses for the first time. So Lions are involved in all of these things. And here, especially in 4L4, we are proud of working with the eye care professionals of the future. We have Lions clubs at Marshall B. Ketchum University in Orange. We have a Lions Club at Western University in Pomona. And we are working with our future optometrists and ophthalmologists and eyesight researchers to already bring them on board to the Lion cause and to get them set up to go out into the world to be able to help with all kinds of vision problems. So it's exciting to see these young people who are so devoted to this area and see what we're doing as Lions to make a difference. So all of these things come in as part of being Lions. We continue to promote wherever we can. We are very proud of our history and our heritage. We love our title of Knights of the Blind. The role that we have played in white cane awareness is something that we will continue on each and every day. And we will find new ways to make a difference every day that we can. Now, I could go on, and I know I've been talking fast. My wife says you always talk too fast, but I get so excited. But I wanted to give John Dugan a chance to talk, and if he doesn't need all his time, I'll finish up with a couple minutes of my own. John, are you there?
Unmute.
Okay.
Yes, I am.
We can hear you.
Good, 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 good. Well, it's great to be here. Steve, wonderful job. I'd want to join the Lions if I weren't already a Lion. Let's talk a little bit about the history I've had personally with the Braille Institute. It goes back to the Braille Leo Club. And it was founded in 1990, and it was incredibly successful. They did so much to contribute to the needs of the community and the needs of their own community. So this goes back. My association with Braille goes back almost 30 years, and it's kind of fun. One thing that was mentioned, thinking about white canes. I don't know if any of you know about the white cane drill team. It actually led the Rose Parade float for the Lions, and it was a drill team that was really based at the Braille Institute, and so it was incredible. And they were backed up by Leos, and everyone who has any sort of a need, disability, and they're walking in the Rose Parade or on the float, needs to have a backup person with them that can help them if something were to happen, a fire on the float or something of that sort. Anyway, really to be proud of. The Rose Parade saw all over the world, millions of people, and it was the white cane drill team that introduced and led the float. I was a founder, along with John Samora and Scott Newton, of the Braille Leo Club. And it was considered the #1 Leo Club in all the United States. Hundreds and hundreds of Leo clubs. And they did that in their first year. And one of the biggest projects they had was one of the girls, Amelia Diaz. Her parents came from the Dominican Republic. Her grandfather was an optometrist in the Dominican Republic. And there's a school for blind children. And basically all it was like a warehouse where the kids would go in the daytime, and they weren't really getting any training. They weren't learning how to use a cane. There were no canes available. So we decided we're going to put on a campaign, an event, all of them. There were about 50 Leos at that time. They raised money. We did car washes. Sometimes we missed a few spots, but they were very, very enthusiastic. Dining in the dark, and made a lot of money doing that, and many other things. And it was publicized in the newspaper, and many people contributed. We were able to send, because of the Leos, Braille Leos, 114 canes, 5 Braillers, and none of them had any experience learning how to Braille. And her grandfather, Amelia's grandfather, was able to train teachers to go in. The canes, it was funny, the company that had made the canes was a Canadian firm, and they normally take the last 2 weeks of December off. And because of making the canes to make sure that they were going to get down to the Dominican Republic, all the workers volunteered to stay extra days just to make sure. And they arrived in Anaheim just about in time to get them down into the Dominican Republic by Christmas Eve. So a wonderful story. It's amazing, and amazing how organized they were, how hard they worked, how they were able to do something like this on their own as teenagers, 13 to 18 years old. Another one of my really favorite events, and this is such an interesting study. We had an association with a group out of St. Polycarp Catholic Church. St. Polycarp Catholic Church had a home and a schooling for kids at risk. Almost all these kids were homeless, or they were really in very difficult situations. So Ann Nugent, who ran that program for the St. Polycarps, trained them, educated them. They were fed there. These were a rough bunch of kids. So she said, look, why don't we get our kids from the Leo Braille Institute and the kids from the homeless shelter, basically is what it was, together and have a day event. They can do crafts, they can play games, they can get to know each other. So I presented it to the Braille Leos. They just absolutely loved it. They like wanted to adopt. So the idea was, let's match them up. Let's match one Leo with one rough and ready kid, I'll call them. Kids at risk. So our Leo said, let's go and buy a present the day, I think it was the day of it. So we took him to the Boynton Park Mall, and that was an experience. Everybody was running up to me, help me pick out a gift of this. And there was one young girl, 14, 15 years old, one of our best beatball players, Michelle Denise. And she said to me, come on, come with me and help me. And she wanted a stuffed animal, something special. So I said that. I was explaining the different stuffed animals to her, and then I let her hold them and feel them and all that kind of stuff. She couldn't make her mind up. I said, Denise, why don't you just get one like you got at Christmas time as a present? She says, I've never gotten it. I mean, she was really from a poor family. So off we go, presents in hand. Our kids are all jolly, and they're looking to have a very up day. Oh, when we walked into the center at St. Polycarp, you could see the other kids weren't. They probably did not want to be there. So Anne had them there, and there was a real attitude. So we paired up the kids, and one of our girls, she actually graduated with Claire, and I can't think of Claire's last name. I want to say anyway, she was teamed up with probably the nastiest, roughest little guy. He was looking away from her. He wasn't answering her. He was just not interested at all. So Claire is absolutely charming young girl, and she kept talking, and I'd look over, and she'd still be talking with a smile on her face. The guy was, hanging in there. So then there was some games they started playing, but things started loosening up. There was more of a rapport, and then they were doing some crafts, and it was really fun. Anne Nugent is just an absolutely fabulous young woman that really knows how to connect with youth. So then it's time for beatball. And our Leos just wiped them out, and the whole attitude completely changed. When I walked back in, the kids were sitting together. It was coming to the end of the event, and I looked over, and here's the young guy talking to Claire up a storm. And they still talk. They still are friends. And this goes back to 1991. They still communicate with each other. So comes to the end of the event, and welcomed them up, each pair of kids, to say, what have you learned? What have you learned about each other? And it was such an interesting conversation. There was so much respect by the kids at risk for our kids. So much respect. And they should have. They got wiped off the beatball field athletically. Our Denise was the best one, in my opinion. But there was such a respect for our kids, and our kids earned it. And that's sort of a way of looking at things. They're going on in life from the Braille Institute, and they're going on in life, and they're going to contribute. Almost all, I'd say more than half of our kids, let's say, went on to college. And Carolyn Jones, some of you may know who she is, incredible singer. She sang for the London Opera, and had a master's degree as well. People like that got their start at the Braille Institute. They got that foundation, and they believe they can do anything, and they can. They can. They won that day. If you took a shot at that room when the kids walked in, and the disrespect those other kids had for them, and they were going to get lunch, and they were going to get some toys for putting up with these blind children coming in, and at the end of the day, there was nothing but respect and enthusiasm. So that's really my favorite time with the Lions and the Braille Institute. I love it. I feel as much a part of Braille as I do the Lions, and I'm very proud of both organizations, and thank you.
Well, John, we have truly appreciated having you for over 30 years being involved with Braille Institute. You are a godsend, and we truly thank you for being a part of it. Steve, would you like to add some more?
Oh, I'll just take a moment or two, because I know we pretty much used up our time. Lions love challenges, and Lions clubs are all throughout the state. And if you have a project that you need help that is in any way site related, then you come to us and we will find the people there to stand by you. When I look at the number of endorsed projects where the Lions in my district support, the Blind Children's Learning Center, the Braille Institute, the Lions Sight and Hearing Foundation, the California Lions Friends in Sight, the Guide Dogs for the Blind, the Diabetes Awareness Program, the Diabetes Innovation Fund. There is nothing that we can't tackle, nothing we can't do. And all of us have these incredible, what are called in Lions, aha moments. They are the times where you realize that you have done something and made a difference in someone's life. My last story, and then I'll let you go on, because all Lions have these stories. My club got word of a young man who was sight impaired, who wanted to play on a sports team in his high school. But he needed not only eyeglasses, but the special goggles, plastic goggles that were considered safety so that he could play. But he was on Medicare, Medi-Cal. He had already used his funds for the year, and no one would pay for something like that. So he was a very good player, but he was sitting on the sidelines. Word came to my club that what he needed were those glasses. And our budget, because all of our fundraisers have been down this year because the epidemic was tapped out. But my members reached into their pockets. They got some money together. One of our members started calling eye professionals and said, this is what we have, this is what we need. And within 2 weeks of being contacted, that young man was out on the field playing sports, having the time of his life, just being physically active, competitive, just like all the other people, because the club took the time to go above and beyond and to provide him those very special goggles. And when you hear about this, and when you think about this young man running down the field, he was a soccer player, and we heard the stories of the first time he's getting the ball, passing the ball, scoring. What a difference in his life. It seems like such a small thing, but we made a difference in that young man's life. And that's what we're out doing. And we will support the Braille Institute and everything they're doing to make this possible. And we will help in every way we can, because we know that you have one success story like that after another. And we want to help make more of them possible. So thank you so much for giving us the chance to talk this day.
Well, thank you. And I know that there isn't a month that goes by that I hear a student tell me what the Lions has done for them. And I truly have loved the partnership that we have with the Lions. It's been a blessing throughout the years. For those who are here listening, the participants, is there anyone who would have a question or a comment for the Lions of Steve Lacey or John Dugan? And in order to do that, please state your name first and then state your comment or question. We're opening it up right now. Oh.
Yes, my name is Liz, and
Okay.
Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes, Liz, we can hear you very well.
Yes, I just wonder in the area of Ventura County where someone in need would find a Lions Club in Ventura County.
And so we have, if you go on Lions Club Inc., there is a locator app that is there, and you put in your zip code, and they will list the clubs that are there. I spent 5 years living in Ventura. In Ventura itself, they have the fantastic downtown Lions Club, which is one of the best, and the area is filled with that. But go ahead, try our locator app. It should give you what you need. And if not, you contact your director here. She'll give you my email and I'll find the club depending on what city you're in. So I'll be happy to help you.
Thank you so much. And you gave wonderful presentation. I really appreciate the information and the background from you guys.
Thank you.
Thanks. That was great information, Steve. Lions Club Inc. and the locator app. Anyone else? I've heard of the Lions giving everything from glasses to Victor Reader streams to special GPS systems, and just the range is huge on what also scholarships. So there have been a few scholarships my students have been able to receive from the Lions, especially my Leo Club members. So they did really well. It's amazing what you guys do. Well, what we're going to go into now, if there's no more questions or comments, is Karen. Are you ready to do the proclamation?
Yes.
Okay, here we go.
So this is the Proclamation on Blind Americans Equality Day 2020. It was issued yesterday, October 14th, 2020. On Blind Americans Equality Day, we recognize the valuable contributions of our fellow Americans who are blind or visually impaired. These individuals enrich our national economy and culture through their determination, courage, and strength. Today, we reflect on the progress our nation has made in removing barriers that have prevented the full participation of blind and visually impaired persons in our society, and we reaffirm our unwavering commitment to defending the inherent dignity of all Americans. This Blind Americans Equality Day is particularly notable as we mark the 100th anniversary of the Federal Vocational Rehabilitation Program, which empowers individuals with disabilities to pursue competitive employment opportunities consistent with their abilities, interests, and strengths. Through the training and skills gained in the VR program, individuals who are blind or visually impaired can more readily enter the American workforce. We are also proud to celebrate this year the 45th anniversary of the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act and the 30th anniversary of the Americans with Disabilities Act. These landmark pieces of legislation forever changed our society by protecting in-law persons with disabilities against discrimination and further promoting their full inclusion in American life. Persons with visual impairments strengthen our communities with their skill and talent across a wide range of professions and industries. My administration will continue to support programs that combat the stigmas that make it difficult for persons who are blind or visually impaired to find employment. I recently signed an executive order on continuing the National Council for the American Worker and the American Workforce Policy Advisory Board, which is strengthening powerful programs I established in 2018 and provides even more workers of all abilities with tools to secure sustained employment and economic self-sufficiency. By promoting the recruitment of underutilized populations, blind and visually impaired persons are among the direct beneficiaries from these initiatives. As we continue to reopen our economy, we also celebrate the success of the more than 1,800 small businesses operating under the Randolph-Shepard Act of 1936, which facilitates the entrepreneurial aspirations of the blind and visually impaired. These efforts have helped individuals with disabilities to reach their full potential and achieve their dreams. By joint resolution approved on October 6, 1964, the Congress authorized the President to designate October 15th of each year as White Cane Safety Day, now known as Blind Americans Equality Day, to recognize contributions of Americans who are blind or have impaired vision. Today and every day, we will continue our efforts to ensure and champion the full and active participation of all Americans, including blind or visually impaired Americans, in every facet of our society. Now, therefore, I, Donald J. Trump, President of the United States of America, by virtue of the authority vested in me by the Constitution and the laws of the United States, do hereby proclaim October 15th, 2020 as Blind Americans Equality Day, to celebrate and recognize the accomplishments and contributions of Americans who are blind or visually impaired. I call upon all Americans to observe this day with appropriate ceremonies and activities to reaffirm our commitment to achieving equality for all Americans. In witness whereof, I have hereunto set my hand this 14th day of October in the year of our Lord, 2020, and of the independence of the United States of America, the 45th, Donald J. Trump.
Wow. Yay! Good job, Karen. Thank you. Oh, that was great. I know that this has been going on since 1964, and a big part of it came from the Lions, and that they got this going, and I am so thankful for that. I'm blessed in that I get to be one of the ones that introduce a cane to individuals who need them, and see them go from having no hope to getting hope and being able to be free and independent. Who I'm going to introduce now are three of our three panelists in the way of what my white cane has done for me. And our first today is Ken Bailey. Ken, are you there?
I am. I had to unmute myself, so
Right.
I'm here.
Okay. All right. If you could go ahead, and then we'll have Shayna, and then we'll have Charlotte, and then open it up for discussion.
Very good. Okay, I'm Ken, and actually sitting here today, I didn't even realize it. Today is my 10-year anniversary of losing most of my vision, and I just realized that sitting here listening to the conversation. So that's been interesting. My blindness came on very suddenly. It was overnight. I'm not going to go into a lot of details as to why, but it was also accompanied by some serious memory issues that, for the most part, have been resolved. Initially, I resisted using a cane. It was an ego thing. I didn't think that it was going to be something that I was going to be able to wrap my head around. But as time went on, I had some friends come around. We found some euphemisms for it. My new companion, my freedom stick. Couldn't call it a cane. I'm over that now. I can call it a cane now, and I see it as more empowering. Very early on, well, let me back up. Since I have some sight, I have 1 degree of central vision that my glasses correct to 20/20. So I'm low vision. I'm not total. For a long time, I insisted on not using the cane when I didn't need to, and that was more an ego thing. And I would carry it sometimes, and I would use it other times. What it comes down to for me is I realized that it was, well, let me not go there first. I'd come up with different names for my cane to try to avoid calling it a cane, which obviously I'm over now, but it was a freedom stick, my new companion, my new eyes, whatever, because I could not get around the idea of a 43, 44-year-old man needing to have a cane. I'm clearly over that now. When I was going to Cal State Fullerton after my vision loss, I had figured out that the cane worked for me in that if I'm using my cane and I run into you, that's your fault. But if I'm using my cane and I run into you, if I'm not using my cane and I run into you, that's my fault and I'm being stupid. And on Fridays when I went and the campus was empty, I would try to, but whenever it was full, I would. That changed with an incident at Braille. The old Anaheim Braille, before they remodeled, they had a wonderful courtyard, and but the planter boxes were surrounded by, I don't know, maybe a foot-high wall. And I got stopped. I was talking to somebody. I turned. I didn't realize I turned. I got a little disoriented. And when I took a step to walk away, I hit the wall, tripped over the wall, and headbutted one of the metal statues that they had in the planter. And a stitch later, I realized, no, I need to be using my cane even when I don't think I need to be using my cane. That was interesting. And then the one story that I wanted to tell, because this was a big one for me. In my first year, I was at the Orange County Fair with some friends. And most of the time we were doing sighted guide, but I was doing my cane training with Leanne, and I wanted to make this something I could do. And we were standing on one side of a mass of people, and on the other side was the corn dog stand. And I wanted a corn dog. So friends were, okay, we'll go get it. No, I'm going to do this. So I throw my cane out, and I couldn't believe it. This mass of people walking back and forth opened like a parting of the Red Sea. And I just kind of sauntered across, and as soon as I got across, it went back, and it was just a mass of people. And got my corn dog, turned around, threw my cane back out there, and it opened up again. And there were enough people that understood what the cane was, and were holding people back to give me a walkway through. And I couldn't believe it. I have learned, in large part through my vision impairment and use of the cane, how nice people are in Orange County. I have lived most of my life here, and I never knew that people are actually very nice. We're just busy, and we don't have a ton of time. But what I've learned is what initially made me feel very weak, which was the use of the cane, now makes me feel very, very empowered. And I've learned to look at it that way. And I'm done.
Thank you, Ken.
Thank you, Leanne.
I didn't know that story about the Orange County Fair, so that was good to learn.
No, you didn't.
So I remember saying it can be like the parting of the Red Sea when you put that cane out, and it is at times. But,
and I got to see it firsthand, and it was impressive.
Yeah, and it's exciting when it becomes a part of you, and it gives you that freedom and that independence to do it yourself. And how exciting. It's good for you. Good. You've come a long way, and it's exciting to see.
Yeah, no, if I could talk to myself 10 years ago, are you kidding me? Wow.
Yep. Okay, on we go. Shayna, are you available?
I am. Can you hear and see me?
I can hear and I can see you. Excellent. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, of course. Hello. My name is Shayna Castle. I am 33 years old. I have retinitis pigmentosa. Just a little backstory. I was actually diagnosed with RP when I was around 19 years old. My mother and my brother have it too, but I grew up having perfect vision. I used to drive at night. I used to be able to see stars, but it was around 18, 19 years old when I started bumping into curbs, and I noticed I couldn't see stars anymore. And that's when I knew something was wrong, and I got diagnosed. And so flash forward, just over the years, as I'm sure many of you know, with RP, it's a degenerative eye condition. So I'm so grateful for my cane. I started using it. Let's see, I went to the Braille Institute and got in contact with Leanne. I still, till this day, call her the Jedi Master. She taught me my cane training. But when I was, I think it was back in 2015, I want to say. I stopped driving when I was 26, but I was hesitant. I was scared at first, but I'm Leanne really showed me the benefits of using a cane. And, you know, at first, like with many people, especially growing up having really good eyesight, I mean, I was like, oh my gosh, what are people going to be, you know, the whole cane shame. But here I am today and I have no shame. I call my cane able. I have, you know, I have fun with it. I try to look at the bright side of things. And like Leanne said, it's definitely like parting the Red Sea. Absolutely. I use my cane very confidently, you know, and instead of being bitter about it, like if somebody doesn't understand that, you know, oh, is there, you know, can you not see? I let them know, well, yeah, no, I'm legally blind. You know, instead of getting frustrated, I educate them because I mean, there's times where kids look at the cane too, and they're just like, what the heck? And I just, you know, smile at them. And I think it's so important too, to educate people because people just really don't understand. So I don't know really what else to say because I know someone else is going to speak and time is, you know, valuable for everybody. But
We have
I'm
plenty
really,
of time. It's okay. We're ahead of
Okay.
schedule.
But I'm truly grateful for my white cane. It's really boosted my confidence. I can tell you when I have been stubborn and think I don't need my cane, I am not as confident. But when I have my cane or able, I just confidently just move forward. You know, it lets me know, oh, okay, there's a curb there, or you know, oh, there's a little even just a little divot in the road or whatever where I'm walking. My cane catches that. And I can't tell you, I'm very clumsy. I'm very accident prone. So I'm so grateful for that because my foot will just kind of roll on a little divot, you know, in the road or the sidewalk. But thankfully for my cane, it's truly been a blessing. And so have you, Leanne. Thank you for all that you have done. And thank you all for speaking today. It's been very, very informative and very special. Thank you.
Do you find do you travel? Not outside of the pandemic, before the pandemic, you traveled quite a bit, didn't you?
Oh yeah. I have traveled. Yeah. I mean, I live in southern Orange County, Dana Point now. That's where I'm originally from, but I lived in Little Rock, Arkansas for 3 years. I was at World Services for the Blind, did the IT training there, but also worked there for 3 years. I've always been able to travel independently. Thank goodness for my cane. That I'm truly grateful for. Because of my cane, I've been able to travel on a plane and just travel like on a bus, a train. It's just allowed me that freedom and to live independently, even though my eyes are, you know, getting worse, and even though I'm legally blind. So
you do very well, Shana. Thank you. Thank you for speaking today. I appreciate it. I might have some more questions for both you and Ken, and as we travel on to Charlotte. But thank you, Shana. Okay, Charlotte, are you there?
Oh,
there you are. I can hear you. Charlotte?
Okay, I'm
Okay.
there, right?
Yes, and I know that you travel
unmuted.
all over the world.
I do, but I love traveling and been many places, but I'm not nearly as brave as Shanna. I'm usually with someone, and but I just want to say that I relate so much to what Ken said and Shanna. Every experience they've had, I think I've had too. I've had the white cane for a very long time, probably 17 years. And I learned about the cane from Leanne, but I didn't want to learn about it, as she remembers. And I probably had that cane in my purse for years before I even took it out. And then I would start taking it out in a foreign country. Then I would start taking it out in a neighborhood where it wasn't right where I lived. So I laugh about it now because it was so ridiculous. I just couldn't face up to what was happening to me. And I, too, Shanna, have RP. So I could kind of fudge it for quite a while. And then it became the point where I couldn't anymore. And now, of course, I'm worse and worse. And now my cane is trusty dusty now. I have a cane all over the house, and I wouldn't go any place without my cane. It's extremely important to me. My safety and letting other people know. And then that brings me to the thing that I have learned the most and feel the most blessed about learning, like Ken said, was the kindness of other people. It has been amazing to me that people want to help, that even if they don't understand, they're willing to learn about the cane. I mean, that has been amazing to me. I have stories all over the place. So I'll tell you this one little story that happened right before the pandemic hit. I would walk home from the gym, and I walk across a couple of big...
You're okay. Somebody just exited.
Okay.
I know,
I walk across a couple of big boulevards with lights, and I am walking.
She's being kind. These boulevards are 10 to 12 lanes wide. These streets that she's crossing, and it's a very difficult crossing. She does.
And yeah. I've been doing it for a long time, so I've kind of got it all mapped out. And Leanne helped me with that. So I am walking up to one of the lights, and there is a young boy, a middle schooler, on a skateboard with his helmet and everything, and he wants to know if he can help me across the street. And I'm like, wow. Here is this young kid in middle school who's willing to help an old blind lady cross the boulevard. And that's my latest story. So the cane is amazing. Thank you.
Charlotte, you were mentioning that there's many times when you travel, you're traveling, I know, with your husband or maybe someone else.
Yes.
You take the cane with you then, right?
Oh gosh, are you kidding? I always take an extra one.
Okay, and what does the cane do for you when you're traveling with someone? I mean, how does that help you?
Oh, it definitely helps me with, especially with places that don't have railings. A lot of foreign countries do not have railings; they have stairs. So it's everything to me. Finding out where I am, keeping me safe. And definitely having an extra one in case something happens, because it's very, very important.
Mm-hmm. Okay, you say an extra one. What happened that you now carry it?
Oh, this was right when I was really starting to use my cane. Mm-hmm. I had to go to, my parents lived the last part of their life in Hawaii, and my mother, we were moving my mother into a different location. And it was the big island of Hawaii. And when I got off the plane, the minute I got off the plane, my cane burst out all over and broke everywhere. And I did not have anything else with me. And we could not find a replacement any place on that island. I think at that time what they did was they went to Oahu to get everything to the main island. So they didn't have it. But that was it for me. What a huge difference. It was so much harder on my husband with me without the cane. Just people not knowing what my problem was, just getting around in another location. I mean, it was really tough. So ever after any travel, an extra cane is in the bag.
That's smart. That's smart. Charlotte, I know it was really hard for you to accept your cane and have it become a part of you, but slowly but surely you got it out and started using it. And it's been amazing to see how you've grown with it and the independence that it's brought you. So,
thank you.
Yeah. Would anyone, feel free to add to your stories, or would anyone have any comments or questions about the white cane for these three, or anybody else that would like to speak?
Connie?
Okay, Connie, go ahead.
I lost my sight due to a car crash about 8 years ago. And I waited to use a cane for 2 years. I was always holding on to someone, their shoulder, their arms, and I was still working as a missionary. I'd go to prisons in different areas and everybody held on to me. And I felt safe until I would get home and I'd be alone. Well, I was living with my family at the time, but it'd be alone. And I couldn't get any assistance, or I wouldn't get any assistance. I finally got a cane and they were teaching me how to use it. But I was so embarrassed of the cane because for miles away you could see me and you'd know that I was blind. And that word blind was ugly. I wasn't able to say it until a year ago. I went to Louisiana Center for the Blind, and now I can say and use the word blind, but I couldn't before. But the thing of it is that the cane, after I went to Braille in Santa Barbara, after 4 years of being blind, I knew that there was more people that were blind. It wasn't just me. I thought I was the only one. And then I started realizing that the cane is my buddy. It's an extension of my hand. I don't want to touch the ground everywhere I go. But I mean, and with that said, it opens up so much. Now that I went to Louisiana to the school, I walked the cities that I did. I never been anywhere out of my area, out of Ventura County. And I crossed streets with hearing the traffic. I know my instructor, Greg, he wanted to help me cross the street where there's no crossing. And I didn't go with him. I said, So he showed me that he could do it. And I thought, well, it's better one person gets hit instead of two. And he went ahead and he came back and I go, that's not possible. You're going to get smashed. And now I do that. Now I cross. Now I walk. And it's such a rude awakening to know that I can continue, that I have I learned a lot more skills that can take me from one point to another. And I share with everyone that I come in contact with, because they say, well, they don't know how to act around me. They don't know. They keep away from me like I have the plague or, something. And that's sad. They ignore me, like as if I have leprosy or something. And even in church. And I have to share with them that they don't have to be afraid that, especially in Hispanic families, any kind of handicap, any kind of disability, that's embarrassing. And a lot of times it shames the family, but it doesn't have to, I mean, I believe now that you can do anything. And I want to become a celebrant. I want to marry people. I want to go and do funeral services, which is partly what I did before in when I was working. And there's nothing that shouldn't be done if you have a mind to do it and you learn, except for driving, of course. But if everybody gets off the freeway, I could drive. I have my own road. So I just wanted to share that my life has changed a lot, but with this pandemic, it's unbelievable. And I just can't wait to get rid of this pandemic and everything and be able to go and start doing what I need to do for myself. So I want to thank you in going around and sharing news and opening up things for people that don't know, like I didn't know before the first 4 years of my life. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Connie.
Can I interrupt really
Hey,
quick,
Leanne,
Connie?
it's Ken.
I'm sorry,
Karen?
Connie. I don't have you down. What's your last name, Connie?
Connie Romero.
Connie Romero. Okay, perfect. Thank you, Connie.
Ken, you had a comment? Ken? I think Ken had to leave. So,
Well, can I mention one thing? Steve Lacey
Yes.
here. What Connie has brought up is something that has recently come to the awareness of Lions, is people not understanding how to behave and help and be part of people with white canes. In my own district, Scott Quinlan, sight impaired, was one of the people that did a training session for Lion leaders, governors and leaders of clubs, to say, this is what you need to do when you're helping a person, when you're aiding a person. And we realized that even in the Lion community, we knew so little about what to do. Do we take their arm? Do we let them take our arm? Do they put it on the shoulder? Do we go first? Are we slightly in front? Are we slightly in back? What instructions do we give them? And there's a huge need for education among the sighted community of how we can help those with white canes. And it's something we have not even begun to touch in the Lion world, and we need to do more and more. Is maybe holding classes, awareness. We could do it on Zoom these days, of what we can do to help, because we were really caught flat-footed when they started telling all that Lions had inhibited them rather than helped them.
Well, I will tell you there is a lot of education going on, and Braille is part of that. And we have outreach classes, we have special understanding visual loss seminars in order to teach those about how to do human guide, how to be aware. One of the things that happens, that I've been in this field for 36 years, and what I've watched, is that people get very quiet around someone with a white cane, and they'll separate, and they don't realize that if they speak up, people will know that they're there and they won't tap them with it. But it's a matter of education, and it's taking time, but it is happening. What I'm excited about is that I've always seen the cane because I got involved early on with Braille Institute, but I've seen the cane as a symbol of freedom, a symbol of independence.
Absolutely.
And that's what the cane is. It's not, I mean, others might see it as a sign of, well, they're blind. And I said, well, so? That doesn't mean that they're not a person. It means that they're out there, they're doing it. By using the cane, it takes courage, because every step you're taking without the cane is even worse, but with the cane, sometimes is into the unknown. You can't see it. And that's, most people, the way that they're mobile is 90% sight. And when you lose it, it takes courage to say, okay, no, I can do this, and learn a new way on how to see with that cane. But it is, I love the folks who've spoken so far, because it shows that it's like you've gone out there, you've learned that you can be independent and you can have freedom. But I admit it takes courage and practice.
Hey, Leanne.
Yes, Ken.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, no, I got dropped, and I wanted to interject something that you were talking about earlier.
Yes.
And I wanted to share the story of our first meeting and our first mobility training.
Go ahead.
Because it's very brief. Do you know what I'm talking about? You know where I'm going with this? Yeah. It's very brief, but all I knew when I did my first cane training, the only thing I knew was sighted guide. And it wasn't even sighted guide from people who knew what they were doing. We had just figured out what to do. So Leanne comes over, and I immediately reach to grab her arm, and she smacks it away. And I thought to myself, oh, okay, that's how this is going to go. She's a coach, not a nurse. And once we approach it that way, we've gotten along famously, and I've learned a ton from her.
You're sweet. And you were
That's what I keep trying to tell people.
Yeah, you practiced and you did it. And nowadays you walk in your neighborhood 4 or 5 miles, that big, huge loop. I couldn't do it with you.
I'm not doing that right now because of the heat, but I'm doing laps around the inner loop. Yeah.
Yeah. And but you use your cane all the time. You're even wearing a hat. Um,
That's for a different reason, though.
I know. I'm just glad you
Say,
are.
this is Liz. Can I say something very
Yes, you
quickly?
may, Liz.
I was with my husband at the Vons supermarket pre-COVID, and at all. And so I said, we were in front of the frozen food, you know, that row with big white, you know, all the frozen food. And I thought he was on my right side because I heard breathing. And I said, oh, well, where do they keep the organic vegetables? And this guy grabs me by my top of my shirt, by my shoulder. He grabs me and he starts dragging me up and he starts yelling in my ear. And I said, stop. And I stopped. And I said, A, I am not deaf. B, I am vision impaired. And C, if you don't let go of me right now, I have a taser at the end of this cane. So watch it. So he did. He fled. And then my husband, my darling husband, came back. Oh, did you know that guy? Who was that? La la la. I said, you're next on my taser list, sweetie. So it's true. Yeah, it's true that people don't know. They grab you and they pull you around. So now whenever I go to a doctor's office or some appointment pre-COVID, I'd say, here's what you do, because they don't know what to do with us. And I show them, here's what you do. You let me hold your arm here. And if we run into a pothole, you throw your arm across my body. And they're so big. I mean, we laugh, but they don't know what to do, whether it's funny or not, or whether they serious stuff. So I have a wonderful time. And I even explained, I was walking at the beach the other day, and there was a little toddler, and I saw him out of the corner of my good eye, and he was looking, he was staring, and his mother was coming out of the car, and he said, what'd you do with that? And so I stopped and I said, here, I'll show you. And the mother, and I said, now you have all this good stuff, you know, well, you'll be the smartest kid on your block. And the mother said, well, thank you so much for explaining that to me. Us, she said. So there it is. I'm the missionary for white canes. They're the best.
Yes. And kids are inquisitive. It's a good thing. And part of it is that once you start carrying the white cane, you become an educator for the rest of your life. And part of what I teach with the human guide training is that when someone goes to push you, turn in towards them. When you turn in towards them, they have to let go of you. It's called the Heinz break. And if you have a mobility specialist, ask them to show you how to do this. It also takes a little bit of practice and a little bit of doing it with someone, because once you do it, then it's like, okay, oh, now I can do it. But it's not a normal reaction that you normally want to do at the beginning. And once you learn how to do it, it's great. It's a great move. Okay. It's called the Heinz break.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, well, Brianna's got her work cut out for her. That's
yes,
Brianna.
She does.
She's the best.
And she is. She's wonderful. She's wonderful. I think that's part of what Braille does, is that they make sure they hire wonderful people to be orientation and mobility specialists. And I work with a great team.
And humble ones too.
Hi, everyone. I wanted to ask a question. This is Brianna, and I also want to say Shayna mentioned something in our chat about when she takes her cane with her, and even if other people are guiding her, her cane brings awareness to the fact that she has vision loss. So that was another thing I wanted to make sure people heard. And then I loved hearing everyone shares, and something that I thought was fun was hearing people's names for their cane. I heard Trusty Dusty, Abel. I know another student has her cane named Esposo, which means husband in Spanish. If anyone has any other fun cane names, I'd love to hear it.
I call my Nellie Bell.
Can you repeat that?
Nellie Bell. You know,
Nellie Bell?
Back in the day, I think one of the Roy Rogers or somebody had called one of his animals Nellie Bell. Roy Rogers. Oh. Nellie
Roy,
Bell. And
Roy
that was,
Rogers, his sidekick, had a Jeep that he named Nellie Bell.
yeah, that's exactly right. So that was, I thought that was a fun name. And before I lost my vision, my husband got me a brand new Prius for my birthday, and I named her Nellie Bell. And so when someone came to buy it, I said, well, I don't know if Nellie Bell's having a rest now or what. And she said, what? I don't understand. So, but you know what? I only have today, so I have to make the most of it. Right, Brianna?
That's right. Any other names for canes? Okay.
They're all thinking about naming their canes now.
Yes.
We could have a naming contest, prize for the best. And speaking of canes, I want to ask this of Brianna. I'd like to go hiking. I'd like to continue hiking. And Brianna mentioned an all-terrain cane. So I'd like to explore the possibility of an all-terrain cane and how it differs and so on. So maybe I can get some info on that in your spare time, my dear.
Perfect. You're talking maybe about one of those Dakota discs.
Oh, right. Yes. Yeah. Okay. Good.
Yeah.
When it cools off.
I have many students who hike, so, and they enjoy it greatly, but it's a matter of just putting some different tips on your cane. So,
perfect. Good.
We also have Kima. Kima's going to talk to us a bit about Cane Quest. Are you there, Kima?
I am.
Okay.
And hopefully, yep, there we go. So yes, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. So from the article, 10 fascinating facts about the white cane, number 9 is white caning can be fun. Braille Institute sponsors an annual Cane Quest for youth grades 3 through 12, where they compete either as a scout, explorer, or trailblazer to quickly and safely navigate routes in the community using their white canes. This contest helps youth master white cane techniques and encourages independence. This year's Cane Quest will hopefully be hosted in the spring of 2021. And this month, Southern California youth students have joined in White Cane Awareness Month activities focused on disability awareness, disability rights, and white cane pride. So awesome. And we might even have some people in the audience who are in the youth program who might want to speak. And I just wanted to add to that, the funnest name I remember hearing was Candy Cane. So thank you.
It's wonderful. Candy cane. I have to admit, at Christmas time, I always give out candy canes because, you know, I'm the cane lady.
Jackie, hi. Hello.
Jackie.
Hi, this is Jackie with National Programs, and I actually work the Cane Quest event for several years now. So yes, it's an exciting competition. The kids have a great time. We always have wonderful activities for them to do during their lunch break, and we also have parent workshops to get the parents involved. It's a family-oriented day, and it's filled with lots of fun, and we give great prizes. They always win awesome technology donated by Humanware, and a bunch of other, they get goodie bags filled with awesome little gadgets that can be very useful to them. So yes, definitely, if any O&Ms on the call are interested in for more information, please reach out to us at the Braille Institute website and our Cane Quest.
Hey. It's a fun day.
Yes.
It really is. Yeah. We're heading up to, go ahead. Who's next?
Hi. Yes, this is Malcolm. I am 72 years old, and I lost my sight finally, and it's a kind of a twist of fate. In February this year, with the pandemic, everybody is stuck indoors, and I've been stuck indoors because of loss of sight, which is kind of a godsend. Now I don't feel alone. I'm along with everybody else stuck indoors. But I was wondering, the three people on the panel that discussed, they're very informative, and they are very, they encourage a lot. And I'm curious, I have traveled out in my neighborhood with my cane and my dog. It's not a sighted dog, it's not a guide dog, but I know the streets in my neighborhood, and going further away from my neighborhood is a little scary to me. I do use a program called Nearby Explorer that will name streets as I go. But these people that are on the panel that spoke seem like they go everywhere. I'm just wondering, do they use a navigation app, or are they just using their cane to go out and to take care of business, to go to the store or whatever?
That is a great question. This is Ken. I have enough vision so where I can use my iPhone pretty directly, but I was terrified about getting lost. Google Maps on my phone is all I need. I think that it is what is it called? Accessible. I don't know because I use it visually, but Google Maps, it's free and it's very good, and it'll give walking directions as well. And that relieved the anxiety of, okay, can I find my front door again?
Right. I use Nearby Explorer, which I can set a destination, and it will give me turn-by-turn directions to that destination. And then I would set it to come back. However, I can't see my phone when I'm out in the light. It washes my screen out. I have to be in a dark place to be able to see the screen, which is difficult.
Google Maps,
but do
Google
you
Maps will talk to you.
The store? Do you happen to go
no,
to
I
the
don't go to
store
the
and
store.
shop?
No, I get grocery delivery. But Google Maps will talk to you also.
Right. Okay.
And Nearby Explorer is a wonderful app, and works. It sounds like you already have that working for you, which is good. And many times it's working with the cane and the app together.
Right. Okay. Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So we're heading up to the end of our time, and I want to thank again Steve and John for being here, and our panelists of Ken and Charlotte and Shayna, and all the rest of you who joined in today, and Kima and Karen for reading what you did and getting involved. We as the Orientation Mobility Team highly believe that the white cane will give you freedom, and what we're trying to do is also make the rest of the world aware of them so that you don't have to educate quite as much. And part of that comes from the Lions, and we so appreciate you guys educating the rest of the world too, and learning. What a cool thing that your participant, your Lion, was able to teach you about Human Guide. So, and Steve, are you still here?
Yes, I am.
Okay, and if you ever need individuals to come out, I mean, Braille Institute would be willing to, we could do it virtually, of doing a Human Guide seminar with your leaders or just regular Lions Club members. If that is something that you would need, we would be able to do that.
Thank you. We appreciate the offer of resources, and we'll keep that in mind. We're doing more and more training seminars, forums of different kinds. And I see that as a future workshop. In fact, we're putting together a list of workshops for our upcoming state convention, and that would be an excellent thing, you know. And we would have to come up with the right title, you know, side by side with the white cane or something like that. So, you know, let people know. So,
Human Guide is what we call it now.
Okay.
Right. Super. Yay. Okay. Does anyone else have any more comments or questions? Well, thank you all for coming. We truly appreciate everyone being here, and go out and be safe. Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks
Thank
for
you.